Hello YouTube, my name is The Legend of DS and welcome to my fourth annual E3 predictions this year, once again going back into the Nintendo prediction list, and this time 3 months away from E3. I believe this is the earliest I've ever done a predictions video for E3, and this year is going to be a little different. I'm not just going to predict what's going to happen at E3, all the events that I think are going to happen, but also the period of time between now, well, not now, the day this video will be released, March 13th, 2017, and the launch on and E3 itself, June 13th, which most likely will be Nintendo's press event. So let's get to it. Okay, obviously let's start with what's going to happen from March 13th, 2017 until June. Well, as of right now, the Switch is breaking all types of Nintendo records, the best-selling Nintendo system, launch system in the Americas and in Europe, the best-selling launch of any system in France, and I believe also in Spain. Could be wrong about that, but I believe it's the best launch system ever. So let's go with what I think is going to happen between today, or today the 13th, well, today is the 10th, but the 13th until E3. Well, first things first, the Virtual Console and other features will be getting released on the Switch. An internet browser, Netflix, YouTube, well, all the apps will be releasing staggeredly or all at once during this period of time. Alongside the Virtual Console. The Virtual Console is going to get one of two things. Is either going to get just a small mention with a special, not small mention because it's a trailer detailing what's happened when it comes out, which games will be out with it, or it's going to happen in a Nintendo Direct. Now, if the Nintendo Direct does happen, it means it could mean multiple things. It could mean that it's launching with Mother 3 as its big game, that GameCube games are coming to the Switch, and these things could happen together, they could happen separately, um, and obviously the third option, another thing that I will think that happens in case of a Nintendo Direct, is that Nintendo will announce Joy-Cons modeled over older consoles to make the Virtual Console experience much more authentic. So for example, if you're playing Super Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time or Super Smash Bros. Melee, Double Dash, Super Mario Bros., the original Super Mario Brothers from the NES, all you have to do is plug in your NES, SNES, N64, GameCube controller or Joy-Cons modeled after them, and you have that experience. That is something that I really would like them to do, or just Pro controllers in the shape of the old ones, because for some reason I cannot play Mario 60. I cannot be good at playing Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time on my Wii U utilizing the normal analog. And to I would like to once again having the C buttons in Ocarinas to play the Ocarina. Sometimes I press left and it goes up. It's a mess in my opinion. I think it would be better to have the more natural feel after the Nintendo Direct, or just the Nintendo announcement of the Virtual Console games and other features coming to the Nintendo Switch. I think there will be uh, ARMS Nintendo Direct. I think they will announce in that Direct, which probably will come either uh, next month at the end of April, right after Mario Kart Deluxe comes out, and beginning of May, to do a more of a Splatoon feel. I feel like they're going to announce new characters, obviously, and new game modes. This will also be um, the beginning of Nintendo's push for ARMS. I think it's going to get a push much like Splatoon got in terms of marketing and all that. Splatoon was a game that in January, by this time 2 years ago, if you asked anyone how much Splatoon was gonna get, most people would say 1 million at best. I was an optimist and I thought 1.5. It could be a 1.5 million game. It could be good. Well, the game ended up doing 1.5 million at the Japanese retail alone. So that goes to show that Nintendo fans are open to a new Nintendo IP, and Nintendo is capable of making and marketing a brand new IP that could sell a lot. Now, I don't expect ARMS to do as well as Splatoon. Splatoon ended up doing 4 million, over 4 million lifetime, I believe over 4.5 million lifetime sales. But that was obviously a shooter, and you know, the fighting game genre is not as popular as uh, shooters. And I also think, aside from just Nintendo pushing it out and with the marketing, as far as they did with Splatoon, I think there will also be a new ARMS version of the Global Test Fire that's happening on the Switch, by the way, for Splatoon 2 this month. So if you have a Switch, at least try it out. I would love to do it, but unfortunately I don't have a Switch, and where I live, Portugal, I've not seen one. There's been sold out everywhere, so you know, think good if you have one. You're super lucky, man. I envy you a little bit because I want to play Breath of the Wild. I can't, and I don't want to play the Wii U version because I know I'm gonna play it again, and I don't want to do it again. That's not, but that's beside the point. Let's keep moving. Now the next game that I expect will be an announcement between now and E3, and I believe it could be end of May. Will be a new Pokemon game or games will be announced obviously. If that game ends up being the or games ends up being the third version of Sun and Moon or the Generation 4 remake, then that or those will be for the 3DS with the possibility of either getting a Switch release alongside a 3DS or a Switch exclusivity. I think there's a smaller chance. But if it's the Generation 8 being announced, not only would that make the Generation 7 the smallest in terms of games, only getting 2 games basically, and it will also mark the smallest period of time between generations. The generational gap between Pokemon games being the smallest it has ever been in 1 year, maybe 2 if it's announced this year and launching next year. But also would also mark the first time a main Pokemon game or the Pokemon series has been with also playing on the TV in mind and being able to play it on the TV right from the start without the needing for um, peripherals like the Super Game Boy, and I forget what was called on the GameCube. Sorry about that. And the final thing that I'm expecting to happen between now and E3 is a Nintendo Direct focus on the 3DS and the games that will happen or will launch for the 3DS this year. There are still games coming out. I believe I know Pikmin 3 DS is also coming. Maybe Pokemon. Uh, Fire Emblem Warriors. I don't think it's launching on the new 3DS, but I don't think it will be in the type of presentation like this. Maybe Pokemon will also be included. Other games that might announce to pad out the last year of the 3DS. But this event could also happen during E3. So that's all I think is going to happen from March 13th to June 13th. So again, quick recap: Virtual Console and other features coming to the Switch. Maybe a Virtual Console Nintendo Direct with either Mother 3 and GameCube games, maybe both coming to the Switch. The announcement of Joy-Cons made in the shape of older Nintendo controllers, an ARMS Nintendo Direct, maybe its own version of the Global Test Fire, and a push to make the game big, and a Pokemon game or games announced, be it Generation 8, if it's Generation 8, a Switch release, if it's the third version of Pokemon Sun and Moon or the remakes of the fourth generation games, it will probably be 3DS exclusive with a small possibility of coming to the Switch and an even smaller possibility of being Switch exclusive. And to end it off, obviously, maybe a Nintendo Direct about the Nintendo 3DS. So now let's switch. Yeah, see what I did there? To what I think is going to happen during E3. Okay, now let's start with E3. First things first, let's start with Saturday. I think that obviously there's going to be multiple Nintendo events, and the first event, obviously on Saturday, will be, in my opinion, an indie showcase. Another one like the one that just happened in the end of February. I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's a good idea, a way to get exposure to the indies again and solidify them. The Switch is a great place for the indies to be. Next will obviously be Sunday, and I think we're gonna get a Nintendo tournament like we did in 2014 and 2015. Now, if it's a Smash Invitational, then it's gonna be with a game either Splatoon 2 or ARMS. If it is in fact one of these two, I believe that in the case of Splatoon, we will see maybe a new one-on-one mode for the game being announced. Since Splatoon is a 4-on-4 team-based event, having a tournament based around it couldn't really work all that well when we reach the finals. It's either a team winner, one team that wins, or one single champion. I think the tournament will be much more exciting with one single champion. But obviously that will be if it's another invitational type tournament. If it's a World Championships, if it's the Nintendo World Championships 2017, and it's in the same format of the 2015 one, then there will be 5 games. There will be six, 5 rounds, 5 rounds, 5 rounds of uh, new games that will lead into the losers being thrown into the elimination round, which will be, there were 4 games there were virtual console titles. If in fact this year we get that again, we might see just the games for virtual console could be any from the games there are at the time of the tournament in the Nintendo Switch virtual console. We have to remember that any game will be available. For example, in the World Championships of 2015, we had Super Metroid, we had the original Legend of Zelda, has games that were playable at the elimination round. But if it is like that, the new games that will be there will obviously be, in my opinion, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, ARMS, and Splatoon 2, leaving 2 spots open. We have to remember that in the original 2015 tournament, Splatoon, Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros., Super Mario Maker, and Federation Force were all there. That's why I'm including these 3 games. Mario Kart 8 and Splatoon were there, so Deluxe and Splatoon 2 being there makes perfect sense. ARMS obviously being a one-on-one competitive game that will be fighting game that will literally launch most likely a couple of weeks before E3. Makes perfect sense to advertise the game, much like Splatoon in the original tournament 2 years ago, but not really the original because there was another World Championships way before that. That obviously leaves 2 spots that could be taken by Mario Maker and Super Smash Bros. Sword ports. A new version of either of these 2 games. The port of Super Smash Bros. 4 or a new Super Smash Bros. Game with either Mario Odyssey or a brand new game. In all these categories again, ports of Mario Maker and Super Smash Bros. 4, Super Smash Bros. 4, or a new Smash Bros. Game plus Super Mario Odyssey or a new game, or new versions of Mario Maker and Splatoon, Smash Bros. The new versions, the new games. I think obviously the one that has the most possibility is either the port of Smash 4 with or a new Smash Bros. Game plus Mario Odyssey and a new game, simply because Mario Odyssey is coming later this year. It's going to be the holiday title. And I don't think personally that Nintendo would release or would have even if it's 2 different types of platformers, 2 platformers so close to one another. I don't think it will make much sense to have Mario Odyssey releasing in the holiday and then Mario Maker releasing in the spring or even summer of 2018. Obviously, it's in the summer, it will be already a larger period of time, but I don't think that the 2 games to be that close. And I personally, I also think that it will be Smash Bros. 4 or 5 with another game, either a new IP or releasing a normal franchise. But I believe in this point, and for a tournament, it would be perfect to be F-Zero. And finally, after what has been roughly 10 minutes, we finally reach the meat and potatoes of this video, and what will be most likely and will be Nintendo's last event at E3. Obviously, they could have again the Treehouse Live event, but I'm talking strictly where they're going to announce things, be it games, um, features coming to the Switch or what have you. I think it's going to be a live presentation, a live stage show like it was Nintendo, the Switch press event last in January, or even Nintendo's conferences before from 2012 and prior to it. Um, I think it's going to be that stage show. But there's obviously the possibility of being a digital event, and I'm going to predict just in case if it is a digital event, Nintendo will once again have someone else do the show or edit or make the show, quote unquote. For example, in 2014 we had the Robot Chicken doing the animation for the digital event. In 2015 we had the Muppet versions of Reggie, Miyamoto, and the late Satoru Iwata. So if they keep this and if it's a digital event, in my opinion, what Nintendo should get, and if the Switch gets the ports of the South Park games, should be obviously be the South Park creators, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, and the rest of the South Park team to do the show. It will be fun, obviously, and let them run wild and let them do whatever they want. That could be phenomenal, in my opinion, for Nintendo. And obviously, if Nintendo can get South Park, the Fractured Butthole, and the Stick of Truth coming to the Switch, that could be, I won't say massive, but that could be great. Also, the people making the game right now, the people publishing the game, are Ubisoft. The game South Park, the Fractured Butthole, recently was delayed, or not real recently, but it was supposed to, I believe it was already supposed to be out. I'm not saying it's because it's coming to the Switch, but you never know, especially with Ubisoft. So let's wait and see. But independent of what the show is, which again, I personally think it's going to be live presentation. If it is a digital event, I hope they get South Park. That would be hilarious. Um, but I think regardless of the type of the show, we're all gonna get the same games, and in my opinion, in the same order. So let's start into it. First, and the best way to start the show could only be with Super Mario Odyssey. Um, Obviously, just a trailer showing us new levels and new power-ups, maybe even new modes. I don't know. We never know, but it could have some online multiplayer modes. For example, that level in Super Mario 3D World, Mount Must Dash, that is one of the best Mario levels I've ever played. It's one of my favorite levels ever, and it's, I believe many people, is considered by many people their favorite level as well, because it's just Super Mario Kart in the 3D platformer form. That could be fun, and I think it would be awesome if they made 16 to 20 levels where you play online like that. Uh, After Mario Odyssey, Nintendo is gonna move on to Fire Emblem, with Fire Emblem Warriors getting the same treatment that that Hyrule Warriors got in 2014, with a new trailer announcing 2 or 3 new characters, maybe even more. The trailer might include story elements, which I think would be pretty neat. And I think that after that, they might give us a sneak peek, a teaser trailer for Fire Emblem on the Switch, even if it's just a logo with a name on it. That would be, I think, pretty cool. I would like to see. Now, obviously, after that, Nintendo could show us the Smash 4 port, or the new Smash Brothers, with that could be announced before this, obviously, with the Nintendo World Championships. But I think that if it is announced before this event, one new character will be announced at the show. But if it's the first time we're seeing Super Smash Bros., be it 4 or 5, we'll be getting 2 new characters in the event, maybe one later. Like we had in 2013 with Mega Man and Villager being announced during the press, during the Nintendo Direct, and with the trainer being announced a few hours later. That would be pretty neat. Um, okay, moving forward, Nintendo, back in January, said that Mario Odyssey was almost done. So it wouldn't surprise me personally if we saw the smaller game that usually comes out, or has been coming out, after a main 3D Mario game comes out for consoles. For example, Mario Galaxy 2 launched in 2010, and 1 year later, in 2011, we got Super Mario 3D Land. I believe I'm correct. I could be wrong. Let me just... I always do this. I know it was Um, 3D Land came out in 2011. Wow, if you put on Google Galaxy 2, it just takes you to Galaxy 2, the phone, not Super Mario Galaxy. Just to make sure, I should have checked. I was going to, but then I was like, I can do it. Yeah, it was May 23rd, 2010, and 3D Land came out in 2011. Not saying that 3D Land is not a good game, I'm just saying that there was a console game, then a smaller mobile game, and then in 2013 we got 3D World, and in 2014, almost a year and a month later, we got Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. So I think Nintendo's gonna do that. They're gonna announce the smaller spin-off using the Mario engine, coming either in December or early next year. Maybe a spring title, maybe late winter. Even if it's Treasure Tracker 2, I would think that would be really neat, a Treasure Tracker 2, because Treasure Tracker was personally one of my favorite games on the Wii U. It's a smaller title, but it's really fun to play with. And moving along, as of right now, as of March 10th, 2017, at 3:21 p.m. Portuguese time, or is it GMT time, there's only one major game from Nintendo coming out in the summer, and that's Splatoon 2. In my opinion, Splatoon 2 will get a trailer for this where we will see some story. Splatoon 1 had a single player campaign with a small story. I think Splatoon 2 is already shown the return of the Octolings, and unless they are in an online mode, which I think would be pretty neat, we will see them again in the story of Splatoon 2, in the single player campaign of Splatoon 2. After this, Nintendo will spend some time on third-party games, and I think in one big indie game that's not on the Switch. But let's keep going. First, obviously they'll talk and show a trailer for Skyrim on the Switch, finally seeing the version of the Switch, and probably giving us a release date and talking to us and showing us, maybe, hopefully, games that were previously announced on other press conferences, for Bethesda, Square Enix, and Ubisoft. I would include EA in this list, but with them you never know. Games that could be coming to the Switch. I think personally that there are games out there that could do great on the Switch, that could be good on the Switch. Obviously we're gonna get Call of Duty most likely on the Switch, Assassin's Creed. We haven't heard anything from Square Enix regarding Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts coming to the Switch. I think that if the Xbox One got and is getting Kingdom Hearts 3, Kingdom Hearts 3 uses Unreal Engine 4 if I'm not mistaken. The Switch supports Unreal Engine 4. I think it would be a disservice to both to the Switch, to the fans, and to everybody that the Xbox One and the Xbox brand that never got Kingdom Hearts games, and Nintendo that has gotten Kingdom Hearts games, yes, spin-offs, but it's got them nonetheless, not to receive Kingdom Hearts 3. I think it would be a major missed opportunity, especially if the Switch continues, gets more momentum and keeps on selling. And if in Japan we get an announcement, I don't think it's going to happen at E3. It could happen after E3, but Monster Hunter and Yokai Watch being announced for the Switch, that could be massive, especially in Japan. But maybe we can also get from Bethesda the announcement of Fallout 4 for the Switch. I think that would be cool, it would be neat, it could sell well. The game is not that old, it's still new, and if it comes with all the DLC and it has a good launch and good marketing behind it, especially if Nintendo puts itself behind it, I think that Nintendo, after having the Nindies showcase, they should also have a third-party showcase where they show games from third parties on the Switch. That could be great. But note, I said in the beginning of this part that Nintendo would show and talk about third-party games and one big indie game. There is Damon Baker from Nintendo recently said, if it's on Steam, there's no reason not to be on the Switch. So, with that in mind, I believe Minecraft has been confirmed coming to the Switch. We already have loads and loads of big indie games coming to the Switch, but there's one missing. One of the biggest ones from this generation, and that's Rocket League. I think that Nintendo's going to show Rocket League coming to the Switch with this Nintendo exclusive content like other versions have it. Um, and possibly Nintendo could either finish up this third-party segment with either Rocket League and the content coming to it, or hopefully with Rocket League followed by the rumored Beyond Good and Evil 2. Again, the game that only has really traction because of the way Ubisoft handled it. Next, Nintendo could reveal the next big game coming to the Switch in the spring of 2018. In my opinion, will be Animal Crossing. Following this trailer, we'll get the trailer for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Hopefully localized. This next part, I want to apologize if you notice a cut. This next part has been recorded over an hour after the previous one. My computer froze, so I had to not restart and not redo everything. Thankfully, nothing was lost from previously, but something that I said after this, or what I was going to say, was not recorded, so I'm recording it now. I would like to add something that I forgot to add previously, and that is that Sonic will be also, I think, a part of the third party, part of the presentation. Now let's move along to the final three things that I have on my list. First one is I think Nintendo is going to finally announce what Retro has been working on. It's not really the last three things. Actually, it's kind of four. Okay, Retro's gonna announce what they've been working on. Hopefully, in my opinion, I hope it is either a new IP or a revival of an old dormant IP. I don't think it will be F-Zero if F-Zero is in the works. And I hope if they do return to an IP they have worked before, I hope it's in the form of a 3D platformer for Donkey Kong instead of a 3D one. I still think it's very hypocritical of the Metroid fanbase that said they wanted that they didn't like that Retro was working on another Donkey Kong game instead of instead of Metroid. What I think is hypocritical is the way they spoke about it. It was back in 2013 saying another Donkey Kong game when it was only the second, while they were asking for the fourth game, despite the fact that Metroid was never that big of an IP, and Donkey Kong Country Returns outsold the Prime trilogy alone. But that's beside the point. I think that alongside Retro, we'll finally see what Next Level Games are doing. I think it's going to be Luigi's Mansion 3, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon was wildly successful on the 3DS. I think that Nintendo would be dumb. I don't think they're dumb. I think they really will capitalize on the fact that 2 was so successful on the 3DS. The same thing comes with the next part. While I don't think, I think it's doubtful. I'm doubtful about this. I don't think it's really gonna happen, but there's a possibility that, especially after what recently happened with Microsoft, that Platinum Games will announce Bayonetta 3 as a Switch exclusive. Maybe with Nintendo purchasing the IP from Sega. After Bayonetta winning the Smash Ballot and being the final character DLC for the game, I wouldn't be too surprised if Nintendo decided to invest in the franchise, in the character, and even making it a Nintendo staple series, buying it from Sega and making more with it. Also, I think that all the games that were mentioned in this video for the presentation part of Nintendo will either get the games that will be launching in 2017 will get a concrete release date, much like they did last in 2014, 2015, where they will show you a game, and if the game was coming out within the year or the rest of the year, it would say August 23rd, 2014 or October. You know, they would give you a concrete release date. I think that every game that's coming out past December 31st or January, starting from January 1st next year, they will not be getting a concrete release date like January 2nd. Well, maybe in the first half of January they'll give you like January 1st or January 2nd, 2018. But most of them will probably just get the vague release date of 2018 or spring 2018. And finally, we reach the end of the presentation. And I think, personally, that the presentation will end with either the teaser or a full-blown trailer with a release date of 2018 for Metroid. 2018 will mark the 8th anniversary of the release of Other M, so in between Other M and 2018 there will be no major Metroid releases. Yes, Federation Force launched, but that was a small IP. The reason why I'm confident about this and utilizing 2018 as the release date is that between Super Metroid and Metroid Prime there were 8 years of wait. Then the franchise was super utilized, whether fans want to admit it or not, between 2002 and 2010. People like to say that Metroid has been dead. I don't like that term because again, 94 to 2002, no games. 8 years and the Metroid franchise was dead. Then from 2002 to 2010, the franchise was massively utilized with um, the Prime Trilogy, then the Prime Trilogy re-release, Other M, uh, the two DS, the two GBA games, Infusion and Zero Mission, then Hunters on the DS, then we got the re-release of the original on the GBA. There was a massive influx of Metroid games. Obviously now after Other M there hasn't been that many. There was only one and it was a spin-off. I think that we're gonna see it. I don't think it's gonna be done by Retro. I think it could be done by From Software. Again, I think that Retro should do a new IP, either a new IP from them or a revival of a dormant one. And if they return to an old IP they've worked on before, I hope it's DK in a 3D Donkey Kong game, like I said earlier in this video. And what I think it's going to be From Software working on it. The people that made Dark Souls, Bloodstain, you know, they might not. You might think maybe that's not a good fit, but we have to remember that prior to Breath of the Wild, the Zelda team would not be exactly the team that I would say needs to do an open world game. I think that Zelda should go open world, but the way that Breath of the Wild has been handled by a team that, let's be honest, the last time Zelda was truly an open world game was 30 years ago, and Breath of the Wild blows everyone's expectations away. So I think that we're going to get that. I think it's the trailer that's going to end, especially if it's in front of a live audience, of a live crowd, because that's going to be the hardcore fans. And the reveal of that, I think it's either going to be a teaser trailer with Samus in some random planet or a full-blown trailer for 2018. That could be the best way to end E3. So that's it. That's my predictions from March 13th to June 13th, 2017, predicting everything that's going to happen. Not really, hopefully well enough. Many of the things I think that I said in this video are guarantees, like the ARMS Nintendo Direct. So, and Mario Odyssey being probably the game that opens, it's either going to be the opener of the press conference or the closer. I think it will, my way, I think it will be better. Open with something big, end with something big. Maybe they'll do the reverse, open with Metroid and end with Mario, or maybe end with Mario and have something pretty big at the beginning. I don't know, but I've been. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, tell me in the comment section what you thought about of my crazy predictions. Thank you for watching. I've been the Legend of DS, and I'll see you guys next time.